Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of February 2026. This is the 16th video of my video journal series, and something that's been on my mind today and I want to share with you is walking. As a matter of fact, walking is my favorite sport, which sounds kind of lame, but I don't really do much sport, except when I was younger. I actually did Taekwondo. But no, I really love walking, and part of it is because it's a very relaxing sort of sport. It's really just you walk, put on some music, grab some earphones, put on your favorite beats, and you just walk maybe for an hour or so. An hour of walking each day really just helps the mind and brain and your legs, obviously. But I really find it smoothing just to have some time to myself, walk with comfortable sporting shoes, not Crocs like I'm wearing now, but actual Nike running shoes or actual sports shoes. Because I've had plenty of shoes throughout my lifetime, and I've recently experimented with Converse, and by recent I mean like last year, but still fairly recent. And I was wearing these Converse high tops, I guess that's what you call them, the original Chuck top ones. And those ones they look very good on the outside, but on the inside it was very, very painful to wear, at least for me. My legs will constantly be sore. Not to say they're a bad product or anything, but I don't think they're really my style. Um, you know, and not to mention they deteriorated pretty quickly because they're made cheaply. And yeah, my legs were just burning because they weren't really comfortable at all. But then I started wearing like proper Nike Revolution running shoes. That's what they're called, the Revolution. I'm pretty sure it's like Revolution 8 or 9, the ones I have, but they are perfect. This isn't an advertisement for Nike, but they're running shoes, yeah, night and day, really. And I walk to the local train station. I walk to the local bus stop. I walk around uni campus, and I don't really feel pain at all. No, it's very, very smooth. I can just walk the entire day and not really feel anything. And part of it is due to the fact that I walk every single day. Not many people are able to walk as far as I can go, but at the same time, when I was wearing those Converse high tops, I wasn't able to walk like that much of a guess long distance because halfway through my legs would just start aching, and I just usually give up. But no, yeah, I love walking out with proper running shoes, and I'm a terrible runner. Like if I were to compete in a marathon, I would most probably come dead last. But I'm a very, very good walker, and even power walking I'm very good at. Like like I can like confidently say that in a single day I can most probably walk, god, maybe like 6 to 8 kilometers without like needing a break. I can confidently say that. I'm very used to walking 3 kilometers without any break. That's like my base minimum. And doing a return trip, well, that really takes it to 6 kilometers. So to put another maybe 2 or 3 kilometers, like 8 or 9 kilometers, I can definitely say that. You know, maybe even 10 kilometers, and then maybe I need like a sit down or grab a drink. But I could walk a lot in a single day, and I do sweat a lot. That's another thing about walking is that you sweat a lot, which isn't bad. It's actually quite good that you sweat, but I often wear jeans while doing it, like very dark jeans and a white shirt, and I tuck in that shirt. Big mistake because what happens is that white shirt at the back um, gets basically something called a dye transfer. That is when the dye off your jeans soaks into your white shirt because there's so much sweat and it leaves like marks at the back, which you know has been happening to all my white shirts. Not this one, but I bought a few. I think I bought one from Uniqlo and one from Big W, like the exact same one as this one, and they both have like you know rashes at the back. Very large black skid marks because of the dye, most probably, or my belt. And yeah, that's the annoying thing, but that's what to be expected by wearing jeans and walking long distances. Even with suit pants, that happens to me. I got a nice pair of black suit pants, and it's the same thing. Whenever I wear a white shirt, tuck it in, you always see like these black skid marks or dye marks at the back, and I'm like, come on, it's like 100% wool here. Like what's the deal? You can bleach it out for sure, but to me, whenever I travel or go out, I try to avoid wearing white shirts. I only really wear white shirts when I'm at home, when I'm wearing my sweatpants. Um, because, yeah, like sweating in white shirts is not a good combination, or doing any work in a white shirt, for me at least. If I want to, do gardening or, you know, I guess any hard physical labor, yeah, I've got to wear a black shirt because, God, I really get messy. But on the topic of walking, I remember in high school, um, our school offered, our school mandated that we do a sport thing on, once every week. So once every week, well, basically beforehand, I should say, you'll pick a sport. Like most kids, it's soccer, tennis, basketball, rock climbing. That was even an option at my school. But yeah, I remember, our school required that we did a sport once every week. Um, and I picked walking. So I was with maybe a group of less than 20 kids. It was a very small cohort of people who decided to pick walking as a sport. But yeah, our school offered walking, and that's what I did. I think I only maybe did tennis or badminton once or a handful of times, but the main sport that I picked throughout my high school years was walking. And walking was always the best sport to do in high school, because the thing is, if there were, let's say, forecasts that was going to be a rainy day ahead of time, and if the teachers knew that it was going to rain, or you know highly likely that there'll be a hailstorm, rain, or some other weather event, you'll usually just stay behind at school, and they'll just give us a classroom all to ourselves, basically. It was just basically free times. The teachers always said, do diligent work on your laptops while we sit inside and it's raining outside, because you can't really walk out in the rain without catching a cold. But yeah, and whenever on the odd chance that walking was cancelled, we just literally got free time on our laptops. That couldn't really happen if you're doing an indoor sport, or maybe basketball, any one of those sports where it might actually matter for attendance. But no, walking was very chill because even the teachers didn't really care that much. And I used to remember, you know, we used to go out for walks near the local parks around the school area. Sometimes we go to the beach around that area and walk. It was very, very, relaxing sort of thing. And I remember my school, we had a strict policy on mobile phones, but I always managed to smuggle my phone in through my pocket and just bring a pair of earbuds and just hide them underneath my jacket, so then teachers wouldn't notice listening to music while walking. But I should have been smarter. I should have gotten one of those portable, like one of those not old Sony Walkmans, one of those I guess late 2000s, early 2010s Walkmans, where it's literally the size of a USB stick, an MP3 player. That's it. One of those MP3 Walkman players that's literally the size of a USB stick. It is a USB stick. I should have brought that as a player. It would have been so small. I can literally just put in my front pocket, and it's not a mobile phone, so the teachers really can't kick me out. But yeah, I should have gotten one of those very, very small Walkmans. And yeah, walking, I still love doing it now. I feel like once you stop walking, you get out of the groove of it, and that's when your ability to walk maybe 10 kilometers unassisted, or without needing a break will slowly diminish. I know some people who can't really like walk that far. Some people can only walk maybe, let's say, 1 or 2 kilometers, and they're like, oh my god, I gotta take a bus or taxi or drive. Like, I know some of my friends who just drive to the local station when it's like relatively close to where they live. Me, I just like walk because it's a maybe it's a fairly sizable walk. Maybe like half an hour for the average walker, but I can easily do it like around 20 minutes. And you know, I know a lot of people just drive to work or drive to the local station or drive, you know, to, I guess, their local shopping center. And, I never really seen the point of that. Like, if I can walk there, I certainly will. And, I just don't really like driving. I find walking the healthiest way. And, I can deal with the amount of kilometers. Usually, when I'm out with my mates, sometimes like I walk too fast and they're like way behind me, and sometimes I gotta like say to myself, all right, I gotta walk really, really slowly. But I hate walking really, really slowly because if you watch the first video journal that I uploaded, you know that I complain about slow walkers or people who block paths. That's like my worst nightmare. If I'm gonna walk at a moderate speed, and I'm always gonna keep to one side. But yes, so walking's lovely. And my friends, they can't really handle, I guess, long distances. They usually just say, "Oh, my feet cramp" and all that. You know, up until recently, I, was at a job where I had to physically stand the entire time. So, with me out of work now, I just got to, keep up that momentum. I want to do, at least an hour of walking each day, which is, I think, really manageable when you have to commute to and from, you know, university, to or from school, to or from work or other commitments that you have, or looking to find a job. You gotta like, you know, just tick down all these places, and that's what I might do in the future. Just try and look for a job, or apprenticeship or anything along that sorts. So yeah, and I guess to sort of conclude with walking is that, well, you know, if you're interested in walking, I mean, everyone's walked in their life, but if you're really interested in, I guess, the sport, quote unquote, the sport of walking, then, you can start by, I guess, doing a, jog or walk, or if you're ambitious, run around your local block, and just do that every single day. Some people may live in areas where walkability is not the best, or where they have to catch a car to work or to the nearest train station. And, that's completely understandable. But, I always try walk, you know, instead of taking even the bus or train if I have to. It's a very short distance. Even if it's 20 minutes walking, I'd rather do that. Because ultimately, whenever I travel, it's not so much about the speed, but rather, I guess, you know, the journey. And, in some certain situations that may be a little bit different, but I very much like just spending my time and being myself, and just having some alone time and listening to music whilst I walk throughout beautiful scenery, throughout parks and all that. But yeah, that's what I really have to say. But I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.